probably, to use the technical term, knackered. And you can have this horrible kind of cognitive dissonance between, I know I need to attack, I know I need to get away, but I just don't have it. You can feel so weak, you think there's no chance of me dropping these guys, I'm on my knees here.
Christoph Rudhoff there is driving that car. He's pretty close to Mathieu van der Poel. He's been a little bit careful because he does keep hammering up and screaming at him. He's giving it the full, not quite the full Medio, but not far off.
That's quite exciting being a team director in these circumstances. You at least feel you can make a bit of difference.
Yes, yeah, his flowing locks are getting plenty of TV time as well, which will be... and back again. This is just for encouragement, and he needs to be careful because he does keep doing this.
Yeah.
And you'll know, I think, probably the, what was it, the bow effect of pushing a car up behind a rider like that?
Yeah, there's a bit of a bow wave. It's one of the things that the UCI have ticked off team car drivers for in time trials, is accelerating up behind the rider. So, you know, you're not getting that close, but you're just trying to sort of, almost if you like, throw air forward. I mean, the effect is quite small, unless you're very, very close. But certainly driving a car up alongside the rider is not doing them any harm. To be honest, 4 kilometres to go, minute and a half, they might as well enjoy their time together, because it's glorious to be, not to win Paris-Roubaix, but to spend several minutes knowing that you're winning Paris-Roubaix. That's nice too, and that's where they're going.
Talking of nice, look at that pump track, bottom right. Lovely. Oh, sorry, hang on. There's the velodrome we're aiming for. It is a real centre of cycling there with the pump track, the outdoor velodrome, the indoor velodrome as well. And we're seeing a full-on grimace now from Mathieu van der Poel. He is riding his way into the 3 Club as well. And it's got to be said, although we might look back at that crash, I think we can say this is a positive and extremely worthy win from Mathieu van der Poel.
Yes, I mean, he's a class act in Paris-Roubaix. I agree, it would have been lovely to see him and Tadej Pogačar fight this out without the incident. But in a way, as we keep saying, it's Paris-Roubaix. These incidents are part of the game. You sort of have to factor them in. We would have been saying if they had both stayed together and then Mathieu van der Poel had got that puncture and that had thrown an advantage to Tadej Pogačar, would be saying the same thing but the other way around.
Hey, I think he is at the end of his reserves here, Hutch. This looks desperate. He's looking around as well. Look at the gap at the top. We're just keeping an eye on it, but I think you're right. He is desperately hanging now. He doesn't appear to have any kind of sign of thinking about catching Mathieu van der Poel. He's desperately trying to stay out there for Tadej Pogačar. He's come to Paris-Roubaix today to test himself, and I tell you what, he's done absolutely brilliantly, hasn't he? But I think he'll be, if he didn't know it already, he now knows just how hard the Hell of the North really is.
Well, he did kind of exactly what you don't want to do, and then he had to chase Mathieu van der Poel for kilometre after kilometre. And it's such a long race, you're already overextended, and having to do that is almost like a shock to the system. It's not what you want to do. He should be, unless he has the hunger knock to end all hunger knock, he's going to be okay for second. But even Mathieu van der Poel looks like he's suffering, and he's comfortably in front.
Yeah, van der Poel with just one more sector to come, and here it comes with 2.6k to go. He's just about to come on to the Roubaix Espace Charles Croupeland final sector that leads to the velodrome itself, and then he has that lap and a half to go. At some point, that vicious grimace will start to turn to a smile of enjoyment because he can enjoy it, but not just yet. What a day out.
Another kilometre before he gets onto that final section. I've really quite flat, easy cobbles. It's a nice goodbye to the cobbles.
Yeah. Hello. Well, Bernard looks twitchy, and that's why. Off he goes. I can see him winding up to that. This might do for Florian Vermeersch. It seems cruel that Vermeersch is going to be played with like this. And actually, Van Aert maybe not. Well, also Van Aert not testing or not wanting to test his sprint against Mads Pedersen after last week.
No, if I were him, I wouldn't either.
Now, Vermeersch for here, if he can get back on them, he needs to hit them straight away with the flyby. I don't think he's got it left.
He hasn't got it, no. He needs to go over the top, but if he's freewheeling there rather than getting on the pedals, that's what he needed to do, and that's why he hasn't attacked up to this point. He just ain't got nothing.
No, Christoph Rudhoff, and the fist bump. There it was. I was waiting to see it. We saw it 1 year ago. Exactly. is a little generous. It is slatted,
it's slightly
tarmac.
Textured road. Yeah.
Textured. Yes, concrete textured road, I think we'll call it. He can see the velodrome.
The adjusted turbo trainer will simulate this perfectly.
Yes, absolutely. Here we go.
Oh, wonderful.
1 kilometre to go for Mathieu van der Poel, himself a former world champion, and he's building a palmarès that is becoming more and more ridiculous year by year. A rider who is seemingly built for Paris-Roubaix, taking now his 3rd win in a row. He's going to turn onto the velodrome. The crowd are going to enjoy this. He's had some disrespect out there on the road today. We have to call it as that. For those of you who didn't see it, he had a bottle thrown in his face hard by a spectator, and the lack of respect was remarkable. Here we are on the velodrome. Mathieu van der Poel leading in by himself once again.
500 metres he has to ride this lap on half of the next lap for 750 metres to the line, and he can enjoy this in this cauldron of noise and excitement in the spring sunshine in Roubaix, riding to his 3rd consecutive Paris-Roubaix. What a wonderful thing to see.
The bell rings for Mathieu van der Poel, and he is in this next lap joining a group that includes Fabian Cancellara, Johan Museeuw, Rick Van Looy, and Eddy Merckx himself as a 3-time winner. Only 2 other riders, Roger de Vlaeminck and Tom Boonen, have won more because they both won 4. Who would bet against Mathieu van der Poel joining that club and maybe even going beyond it to become the greatest Paris-Roubaix rider of all time? Tadej Pogačar, the Tour de France champion, tested Mathieu van der Poel today, but he was more than up to it as well. 3 wins in a row for Mathieu van der Poel, and what a moment in the sunshine of the Roubaix velodrome. 3 in the air and more to come, I suspect. Mathieu van der Poel is the 2025 winner of Paris-Roubaix.
We are living through a golden age of classics riders and classics racing at the minute, and none of those riders are more glorious when they're in their pop than Mathieu van der Poel. And we've got Tadej Pogačar coming in to claim a very well-deserved 2nd. They're now tied on 8 monuments each.
Amazing, amazing. This year the monuments have gone. Mathieu van der Poel, of course, at Milan-San Remo. Then last weekend, the Ronde van Vlaanderen, where Tadej Pogačar was utterly dominant, using his watts per kilo to his advantage. Well, he's come here today as seemingly a watts per kilo minnow, and prove that he's not just a big set of lungs tagged onto a little body. He is a complete bike rider, and I think we can say with this, the most important thing to say about Tadej Pogačar, Hutch, is he will be back.
Oh, for sure he'll be back. You don't finish 2nd in a race like that, like this race, the way he finished 2nd, and not come back, because he knows he can do this now. He knows that he can ride on the cobbles with the best of them. It didn't work out for him this year, but that's not because he's not the right rider for the race. That's because it just didn't work out for him this year.
He had the crash, he crashed and went actually over the bars. He has a bloodied hand and elbow from doing that, but there is the familiar smile of Tadej Pogačar, the Slovenian megastar of our sport, in the World Champions bands, 2nd on debut at Paris-Roubaix, and here come the others waiting to get the bell as well. This is going to be a sprint between Mads Pedersen, Wout van Aert and Florian Vermeers, who's been here before on the podium in this race. Can he do it again? He's already been second in the past. The best he can get out of this now is 3rd.
Well, Mads Pedersen's been forced to lead it out, so maybe Wout van Aert's finally going to get the better of him this one.
Yeah, Mads Pedersen got the better of Wout van Aert last weekend at the Ronde van Vlaanderen, where Wout van Aert was 4th, and van Aert is really twitchy. Florian Vermeers has to go somewhere. He's hoping that the distance will do it for him at this point. Mads Pedersen opening up. Pedersen leading into the final bend. What has Wout van Aert got? He's left the door open for Wout van Aert, and I don't think he can do it. Yes. Pedersen takes yet another podium spot and another 4th place for Wout van Aert.
And when is Mads Pedersen ever going to win a monument?
Well, he'll have to keep waiting. We will keep waiting. He's won the World Championships, but as we know, he would probably give that up for a win in this, the Paris-Roubaix.
And Wout van Aert rolling in 4th for what's been, by his standards, a disappointing classic season. This is probably the monument that suited Wout van Aert best, and he still hasn't won it. He's got a 2nd, he's now got a 4th. It just hasn't worked out for him.
Mathieu van der Poel straight to congratulate Tadej Pogačar, who's alongside Mauro Gianetti, his sports director. This is going to be the sprint for, what are we looking at now, Hutch? 6th? Marcus Hulgaard. I counted how many we've got in. Marcus Hulgaard, Stefan Bissiger, and what a ride by these guys as well. Jonas Ruch and Marcus Hulgaard were in the original breakaway, so survivors from the original breakaway. It shows if you're strong enough, you can hang on, as we know in this race.
It's one of the unique characteristics of this race, and I love the fact that these groups will keep sprinting because it's Paris-Roubaix, and you know, you show your respect to Paris-Roubaix when you get to the Velodrome in a group, you sprint for the win.
Yeah, they are going for fifth. If I got that right, I've got to count them across the line. Marcus Hulgaard, the Norwegian champion, they're going for sixth. Stefan Bissiger in the middle, and then Jonas Ruch goes long. How has he got anything left in his leg? He's been in the breakaway all day. Jonas Ruch has launched a big one. Let's hope he can hang on to it. What a fantastic ride by him. It's going to be Bissiger going after him, but I think Ruch is going to hang on to this. Yes, he is. Jonas Ruch gets sixth. Stefan Bissiger seventh, and Marcus Hulgaard, what a fantastic ride as our first national champion across the line. This is the rest of them coming in, and I think we've got here, unless they've got a lap to go. They're hearing the bell, of course. Is that Fred Wright in that group? I think it might be. We've got some riders here who've come up that we actually haven't even seen much of today either, so there's been some sifting going on further down this field, Hutch, as well.
Oh, so the race ends up so spread out that you just don't see what's happening outside those first 2 or 3 groups, and often that only means 6 or 7 riders. Yeah,
that's the next group coming in now as well, which has got Biniam Gourmet being led out the front of it. Here comes Pipo Ganna. We haven't seen him for a while. Dan Hula's in there too as well. There is one of the Tudor riders, and I think that's Fred Wright, who's just come across the line in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken.
Just about.
And that was Jasper Philipsen there as well, so we've now found out where he is. That's Marco Haller on the line, Pipo Ganna, Biniam Gourmet and Mike Turnison in that group too.